radioactive? She says, so was I. And in retrospect, our heads are going like this.
I thought you were just digging what I was saying.
Yeah. No, but my question is, did anybody else have that thought? To talk to the bee?
Did anyone else tell me to leave?
Like, was anybody else thinking those thoughts at the same
I
time?
think it was just you guys.
Were you thinking that at the same time?
Oh, yeah, a collective thought.
When it flew out, were you thinking that?
Not when the candle was up there, I thought.
Okay.
Guided to the door.
Because I was thinking...
I was trying to bring him back.
If it comes back, you know, he's abusing his power. So anyway, I was just wondering, as a real-time experiment, was anybody else thinking that? Because clearly she and I were having the same thoughts independently at the same time that the bee responded. Anyway, that's my question. Right, yeah.
Well, there is, talking about, like real tangible proof of multiple universes, there is a being on the planet that does shift through multiple universes in an instant. You can watch it, and we've all experienced this. I mean, anytime you're going to sleep and you feel a mosquito in your ear and it's right there and you smack it, where does it go? It just shifts universes. Have you ever seen that where you try to hit a mosquito and it disappears? I'm convinced that mosquitoes have solved the problem that they are interdimensional beings. And they either try to bite you and then like you hit them and they go into the next dimension. And just as you're about to sleep, they come back again. It's just right in front of our eyes. It's been there the whole time.
There's only one mosquito.
There's only one mosquito. There's many, many lives.
But I didn't was here, put my energy into it.
So the lady sitting to my right, what was your name? Liz. So Liz sitting to my right, maybe there's some kind of temporal relationship here. She has an analogy to bee, so she was really conscious of the size of that bee.
So it's big.
Yeah.
And she was aware of the bee kind of going in that direction and watching her heads move.
Yeah.
She said something to the effect of
I thought of a fleeting thought of, wouldn't it be great if somebody could make that bee leave, but I didn't feel that myself.
That's
hilarious.
The bee whisperer.
Bee whisperer.
Oh,
There you go.
Well, wait, I had an agenda with the bee.
Yeah, what was the agenda?
I didn't put myself in there.
And I was actually thinking with respect to the bee, wouldn't it be nice if people minus here? So it's like a giving type of thing.
Cool. So the type of visualization or meditation that I do in the morning is my main modality is for moving life force energy through my body is through visualization, through visualizing light. That's what I do. That's what's easy for me. That's what works for me. I can do it for long periods of time. I love it, and so we tend to do what works for us. And so the visualization I'm going to lead you through is just that, where we always start with a ball of light in our navel. That's, as Robert says, that's the seat of vitality. And for me personally, in my own developmental energetic practice, that's always been an issue for me, is having the vitality of those three wheels that Robert talks about. The vitality one is the one that I always need to light up. So you're visualizing a ball of light in your navel. I then imagine an ocean of light, and it all comes through and starts circulating all over. I may want to, and I can guide you through this, just visualize that ball of light going up your spine and then back down again, because that's in Eastern medicine, meditation practices, that's like the essential highway, of where that's the 8-lane highway of energy. So you want that one open so that everything else can open. And then we'll just play with something just for a little while. Just sort of imagine. You can just sort of imagine that we're in this ocean. Like each layer is a universe, however you want to conceive of it. One universe stacked on top of the other. The lower ones are the less pleasant ones. The higher ones are the nicest ones. And our energy is making us brighter and brighter, and it's making our vibration higher and higher. The same way when you heat up air in a hot air balloon. It's actually a higher vibration, so it's going to go higher. So we're using that light to pretend or imagine, however you want to conceive of it, whatever you want, that your energy is getting higher. So your vibration is getting higher, and as your vibration is getting higher, you naturally drift to higher universes without having to worry about what that means, whether or not you get to walk down a flight of stairs or not. And by the way, I think that happened to me. I don't go around trying to change the stairs of what's going on. I don't do any of those things. I think it was just kind of a cute thing that when the universe was saying, yeah, keep doing what you're doing. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't consciously, try to not have to walk up the flight of stairs or something. I think good things are happening. Wherever you are, there's going to be good things, there's going to be bad things, there's going to be challenges. You don't know what it's going to be like relative to something else. You don't know why you're experiencing something. Sometimes something that looks hard, the only reason you're experiencing it is for your own benefit, to learn something. So you can't really judge everything that's going on and say, why is that happening? I did my visualization. It's a complex dynamic. But at the very least, from my experience, doing a visualization like this will give you the opportunity to be in the highest realm of existence, if you want to call it, that you can be in at any given time, given your situation. Cool. So we're just sitting comfortably. Take a deep breath in. And a deep breath out and relax. I'd like you to imagine there's a ball of beautiful, bright, white, healing light circulating around your navel. It's like a whirlpool of light, maybe the size of a softball or a volleyball. It doesn't really matter. And it's just spinning around, circulating around your navel, getting brighter and brighter and brighter. It's like a whirlpool of light, or a galaxy of light. You're just breathing into it. You can imagine that each time you breathe in, it spins more, like a pinwheel in the wind. Breathe in and it spins more. You breathe out and it spins more. And it's just circulating around your navel, getting brighter and brighter and brighter. And you can imagine also that as it's circulating around your navel, it's pulling energy up from the earth. It's pulling energy, grounded, solid earth energy into your feet and into your knees and into your legs and your thighs. However you want to conceptualize it. It's pulling energy into this ball of light in your navel. So you've got this beautiful, bright ball of light in your navel, and you're pulling energy up from the earth into it, and it's getting brighter and brighter. You can imagine as you're breathing into this ball of light in your navel, and as it's circulating around, getting brighter and brighter, and as it's pulling energy up from the earth into it, you're also pulling energy down from the sky into the top of your head. And if you touch your tongue to the top of your mouth, the roof of your mouth, you can imagine that energy, you might even feel a trickle as that energy goes into your tongue, and into your throat, into your heart, and into the ball of light in your navel. So you've got this ball of light circulating around, getting brighter and brighter, pulling energy up from the earth, it's pulling energy down from the sky, it's all mixing like a yin and yang, heaven and earth thing, and as it's doing that, it's getting brighter and brighter. You may want to even bring in your life force vitality, which is the seat of your root chakra. Your creative energy, your sexual energy, this powerful energy. You can bring it into there, and it's all mixing together to create an amazing chi, earth energy, heaven energy, and life force energy. Circulating around, getting powerful and bright, raising your vibration. Almost like a fire in a hot air balloon. It's raising your vibration, your whole body. And as you're sitting there with this ball of light in your navel, pulling energy up from the earth, down from the sky, bringing your life force creative energy into it, getting brighter and brighter. I'd like you to imagine that you're also in an infinite ocean of beautiful, bright, white, healing light. Maybe we can't see it with our eyes, but it's there. We can feel it. So bright, so powerful, so healing. Every particle that this light touches, it heals. Every cell, it heals. Every particle that it touches, it raises your vibration to a higher frequency. And it's just bathing in this infinite ocean. And as you're sitting there with this ball of beautiful, bright, white, healing light circulating around your navel, pulling energy up from the earth, down from the sky, pulling your creative life force energy into it, making it like a furnace, powerful energy. And in this ocean of beautiful, bright, white light, I'd like you to imagine that the pores of your skin open up, and all this beautiful, bright, white, healing light comes rushing into your body, filling your body with light. So every cell of your body, you can feel it rushing into your arms and your legs. You can feel it rushing into your heart and your chest, your digestive system, your kidneys, liver, spleen, gallbladder. You can feel it in your eyes, in your face, in your tongue. You can feel it going up your spine and your legs. Your whole body is glowing with this energy. So you've got this ball of light in your navel, spinning around, getting brighter and brighter. It's pulling energy up from the earth. It's pulling energy down from the sky. You've got your creative life force energy in there, making it stronger. You're in this ocean of beautiful, bright, white light. Pores of your skin have opened up. Every particle of your body is vibrating at the same frequency as that light. So your DNA is changing. Your DNA is being activated to be the highest vibration of yourself. The core of your bones is being rejuvenated and is glowing with life force vitality. The life force vitality that you had as a kid is being renewed, so your body is becoming younger and more powerful. And as you're in this ocean of beautiful, bright, white light, and as every cell of your body is vibrating at the frequency of this beautiful, bright, white light, like the switch, the dimmer switch on a light, as you can turn the dimmer switch on a light and make it brighter and brighter. I'd like you to imagine that you're turning the dimmer switch on the light of this ocean of energy, and it's getting brighter and brighter. So you're turning it, and you can see and feel it getting brighter and lighter at a higher frequency. And as that's happening, every cell of your body is vibrating at a higher frequency. All your energy channels are open and flowing, and you're just light. The greatest scientific minds tell us we're just vibration. And so now you're vibration, but you're vibrating at a higher frequency. And so you can turn this dimmer switch brighter and brighter. And as you're doing it, your bones start to glow brighter and brighter. Your skin, the cells, your DNA, everything glows at a higher frequency. And as you're doing that, you can imagine that because your vibration is getting higher, you're drifting higher and higher to more pleasant realities, more pleasant versions of this universe. Like a hot air balloon in an ocean, in the middle of an ocean, it's going to go higher and higher. Or a buoyancy compensator making you go higher and higher. Your bones are glowing at a higher and higher frequency, and you're moving higher and higher. And you can see it happening very quickly. You're moving from one life to another, from one universe to another, to the highest, most positive universe for you, where things are flowing beautifully and effortlessly. Your energy is flowing through your body beautifully and effortlessly, and your life is flowing. Things are happening easier, faster, quicker. People are kinder. The universe may be a little bit cleaner, a little bit safer, a little bit more pure. Maybe there's a chance some really amazing things will happen to heal the world. You can see yourself in that universe, which maybe it looks and feels just like this universe. It's just a little bit different. It's a little bit better. Maybe whatever you work on professionally is happening just a little easier. You can imagine that. You're in this universe where whatever you're working on when you go back to your life, it's just a little easier. The sales happen a little quicker. The deal closes quicker. The relationships things happen easier. Everything's just a little bit smoother, and you're just vibrating at a higher and higher frequency. And just feel that. Just take a moment and just be quiet in your own time and space to feel what it feels like to be in a higher frequency existence, a higher energy universe. And to maintain that and feel that. A place where everything's flowing and magical. Just feel that feeling. Whatever it feels like for you, just connect with it. And then just in your own time and space, I'd like you to imagine that all that energy from that universe, that ocean of energy, and all of it comes into that beautiful ball of light in your navel. It's like you bring it all in and you keep it there. You keep the energy from a higher reality where everything's beautiful and pleasant and smooth. You keep the energy of that. It all goes into the ball of light in your navel and you store it there. You store it in your navel, so it's like a furnace of high vibrational energy that you can use for vitality, for inspiration, for power, and to excel yourselves to a higher vibration where things are flowing easy that way. So you just store it all there as your personal storehouse of power, vitality, vibration, and connect with it and allow it to guide you to the highest, most beautiful reality possible. In your own time and space. So that's just a little example of the way that you can use your mind and light and visualization to increase your vibration, open your energy channels, have all those good things, have more life force coming through your body, reverse the clock physically, get to a place where you're in a more beautiful universe, maybe even, and live that kind of magical life where more of your soul and spirit is more open, it's all coming through. Stig and Robert, who are the two greatest masters I know. As I said, this is my greatest honor to be with them. The rest of the weekend they're going to be teaching you how you really do it, because they are the masters. They use powerful breathing and movement techniques that are as old as time itself. Don't let their good looks fool you. It's a real deal. And they'll be adding on to that. But for me personally, I am lazy. I admit it. I like to just sit visualize. I need a little movement. Sometimes I always convince myself a reason not to do it, even if it's a simple movement like this. Or the breathing, I can convince myself not to do it. But this one works for me. This is my take on it. And my greatest desire for you today, this morning, is that somehow from this weekend, whatever the practice is, it's a daily practice of consciously opening up your energy channels, consciously channeling higher energies through your body and into your life, and consciously co-creating your existence in a more magical way, to be living in that space of infinity, where there's an infinite number of universes you can dwell in, there's an infinite number of possibilities, and you're consciously creating the best ones for yourself. Thanks. So, Robert, I don't know, we have a couple of minutes. Can we take questions now, or do you want to do it later? Yeah? So yes? No? If everybody has some questions. I don't know if we, hit us here, but I think we can pass it around the mic if somebody wants to raise their hand if you have a question. Some people have questions. Okay, there's a question over there. Tiffany, do you mind helping? Or something? With just the microphone? Melinda?
Is it on?
Asking you this question. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
It goes back to what you spoke about this morning about the 5 days after your water fast.
Yeah.
And for lack of a better term, perhaps you had 5 days of something resembling enlightenment.
Yeah.
Where things just were right.
From what I read, it was something, like when I read other people talk about that concept of enlightenment, it was something similar to that. Yeah.
I'm curious if you've read about clinical studies that have been done, are being done regarding the guided use of psychedelics.
No, it's never been. I've seen it. I've seen a lot of people talking about it. And people are interested in it, and I've never resonated toward it. So
Yeah,
I haven't followed through with that.
It's been initiated primarily to help with those who have issues with mental illness.
Yeah,
But it's expanded.
yeah,
And it's admittedly controversial.
yeah,
But the gist of it is that you have a very temporary experience. And if you are able, and some do, achieve something like what you described, it doesn't last forever, it's
Yeah.
temporary.
yeah.
But the knowledge that it was there
Yes.
then lasts forever.
This is my kind of take on that. Is that really what keeps us from having that experience all the time is basically this computer program that's our brain and our DNA. Like it's keeping us in this reality that we know for a fact is not exactly the way it is. We know that. It's not disputed. We know that that's not solid. We know you're not over there. We know time doesn't exist. But this kind of computer circuitry keeps us in there. And I think that when you take psychedelics, it temporarily stops working. You get a window into who you really are and what you really are. And hopefully it closes up okay and you're okay. I did have an experience in college years before where I took mushrooms, mainly because I was doing triathlons at the time and I was hungry and that's all it was about. so I had mushrooms and I had an amazing experience. I felt just like, everything was all right and everything will always be all right. And
When
danced
I
all
went
night.
to college,
Yeah.
it was during that era.
Yeah,
And I did experiment.
yeah,
And I remember that there was an experience where I knew, I wrestle with the existence of God and death and what comes next. That short period of time, it all made sense.
I remember
And I've
having
never
a similar,
forgotten that.
yeah, I remember having a similar experience, and I just think that like I was saying before about sex, for example, sex feels good because the message is going from our sexual organs up our spine into a part of our brain. But if you were to numb your spinal cord, sex wouldn't feel good because the message isn't there. And if you just were able to go into that part of your brain and activate those neurons, you would have the pleasurable sensation. So there's nothing outside that's pleasurable. In reality, the pleasure is available to us all the time. It's just locked. It's locked in this program. And if you can bypass the program, and one of the greatest things that I just discovered incidentally from meditation, is that meditation is the only time that you're sitting awake and alive and not using your 5 senses. And when you start to do that, you develop an awareness outside of your five senses. You know, what some people would call a sixth sense, where, and the sixth sense gives you a more accurate indication of what's really going on. Because what's really going on is that time doesn't exist, which means that we know what, like, we really do know what's going to happen in a half an hour from now or a minute from now. But we're locked into our five senses in our mind that's giving it to us sequentially. The sixth sense gives you these things. It gives you, the other thing it gives you is pleasure. There's a way to access pleasure where you're bypassing the gatekeeper of your brain. It also gives you tremendous intuition. Like Melinda tells a story that I was telling at our retreat where she was at in Aurora, Colorado, at the movie theater where they had the Aurora, Colorado shooting in 2012, where a gunman opened up and killed 70 people. She walked into the theater with her friend, and then she just said to her friend, "We got to get out of here. Something's not right." You know, and they left, and 70 people died. She, you know, God willing, thankfully she didn't. 70 people were shot at least. How did she know that? You can't say that that's coincidence. There was a time when I was biking once. I used to do this bike ride in the vineyard in Western Australia. And when I got to the top of the ride, it was on the top of this hill, it was a big hill. And it was like, that was always my victory moment when I got over that hill. And I put my hands up like they do in the bike race, and I'd go down the hill like that. Get to the top of the ride, I'm about to go this, and the voice said, "Don't." Stop. This 6'5" kangaroo was this far away from me, comes right at me. I swerved to the other side of the street, and fortunately there was no car, and I went to the corner like that. If I had my hands up like that, we would have crashed right into each other. They're not violent, but they have talons. You know, they have sharp talons. They disembowel dogs. If the dog chases them and corners them. I went over to my friend's house one time. His dog looked like Frankenstein. It had, you know, stitches everywhere, like the whole body. I said, "What happened to your dog?" It chased the kangaroo to a fence. The kangaroo stopped and disemboweled, you know, just took its skin off. So, you know, that would have been my fate. What was that? And what that is it's something outside of the illusion of time, the illusion of five senses, the illusion of pleasure and pain. They're all illusions. They're all part of this program. And when you are awake and alive and existing outside of your five senses, which is the only time you're doing that is when you're meditating, it's like, you know what it's like? It's like putting a patch when a kid has a lazy eye. Do you know when a kid has a lazy eye, one eye's not working as well? So you put a patch on the good eye, and it forces the lazy eye to get stronger and stronger. I remember I had a kid I used to babysit for a whole week. He had a patch on his good eye. This cute little, this 5-year-old kid, cute little big blue eyes, it's a sideways eye looking at you with a patch on it. Cutest thing in the world. But the eye got stronger and stronger because you put a patch on the good eye. Because otherwise the good eye was dominating. So when you're awake and alive with your eyes closed and everything not moving, it naturally allows the weaker sense, which was not being dominated, which is being suppressed in our society, and that it allows it to get stronger and stronger. And part of the benefit of that is getting a strong indication of what's going to happen that keeps you safe, and also feeling pleasure that is otherwise locked into our five senses. So the experience that you had with psychedelics, and that many people have, meditation masters have that because they've been able to bypass the keys to the kingdom. They've been able to bypass the lock that is our five senses and mind. It's there. Every pleasurable experience you've ever had that you can think of exists in you right now. You don't know how to access it. We don't know how to access it, but it's there. So these people, you know, meditation masters talk about bliss. They're in bliss. The psychedelic, the cosmic consciousness, the intuition, it's all part of us. We can develop it by putting a patch on the stronger senses and making that one the dominant sense. So.
Just a quick practical question.
Sure.
The guided meditation you just did, is that accessible on your website or?
Well, that one I just did. I've never done it before, but we just recorded it. I know Omega recorded it, so I think they had, you know, they sell copies for like $50 for these things, you know.
Are there other ones on?
Yes, yeah, for sure. Most of the meditations I do are weight loss based meditations, but we do have in our support group, we have like a meditation called Connecting to Your Higher Self. We have an app, Gabriel Method Visualizations. It's available on iPhone. There's one called Intuitive Warrior, I think it's called. Living Warrior for men, and then Living Goddess for women. That's similar. But I would encourage you to get the recording for this, and that's exact one.
Going back to that experience where you stopped breathing and your heart
Yeah.
stopped, I look after children, and
Yeah.
toddlers often come in and they have a shock or they have a pain and they stop breathing, they hold their breath and the heart stops,
Yeah.
and then it comes back. Do you think we all have that ability as children and lose it?
I do, and I think what makes us lose it is our belief systems. And that's why people like Robert and Stig are pushing the boundaries of our belief. We're not supposed to be able to hold our breath for 22 minutes. There's no doctor in the world that would say that. But it's happening, and there's people that he's trained that maybe can do it for 10 minutes, or 12, I don't know. We're not supposed to be able to do these things. So we need people like that to push the boundaries. A kid doesn't know that he can't, he stopped breathing for an hour. He doesn't know that. And I think it's completely true of every aspect of our life. There's nothing, we're just vibration, and we're just making it up in our 5 senses in our mind. It's just all potential. That's all it is, and that's exciting to me. Like all that silliness about the Mandela effect. What excites me the most about that is the fact that we can blow ourselves up 20 times a day and not even know the difference. I like that, because my whole life I've been afraid. I grew up in the 80s. I was afraid of nuclear war. I was afraid of Russia. I was afraid. I grew up with fear, nothing but fear. And maybe what if that's like, we don't need to have that. All we have to do is focus on our vibration, and every time we screw up, we just go to the next one. We don't know. Who knows how often? Haas avocados. Haas avocados? Haas avocados? Most of you know it. Do you remember Haas avocados when you were a kid?
Oh, yeah.
You do. Do you? No, you don't. I don't remember Haas avocados as a kid. Haas avocado, a lot of people don't remember, they just came out of nowhere. I was in Australia in 2000 and I don't know what when I saw Haas avocado. I just assumed that it was an Australian thing. Never heard of Haas avocados. This is always, we're just moving through universes. The other one, there's like a whole bunch of these little ones, that people, there's another one that, like for me personally, is Looney Tunes. The cartoon? Do you know how you spell Looney Tunes, the tunes?
Looney.
Tunes. Tunes was T-U-N-E-S. Anybody else remember how to spell tunes? Any differently?
Toons.
T-O-O-N-S. People remember it differently, and I'll tell you, for me personally, it's no right or wrong, right? But for me personally, Looney Tunes was a cartoon in the 70s, right? They didn't have tunes like iTunes. It was a cartoon. So I remember it, and lots of people, and there's no right or wrong, remember it T-O-O-N-E-S. But it's not. It's apparently T-U-N-E-S, like iTunes. And it's always been. Julie and I are from the same place. We're from the same hood. Anyway, let's.
So Johnny, I wanted to get your take on how you coordinate, because this is the direction I want to go in. I really want to take on the work that you're bringing to everybody.
Yeah.
And I want you to talk about emotions and raising your vibration, because and I'll just give you my 2 cents on it. Clearly, there are certain emotions that bring you to a higher vibration and how we experience the world differently. And you see things like that in Scripture all the time, like enter God's presence through thanksgiving, His gates through praise.
Yeah.
To me, emotions also open the channels. And how do you coordinate the 2 thoughts?
So I'm getting chills because it's something I wanted to talk about. One thing I've learned over the years doing the 5-day retreat that I did, is how essential it is, first and foremost, to heal emotional trauma. And what I've learned specifically is that one of the things that can block our energy channels, keep them from flowing, is emotional trauma. It's stored in our energy channels, it's stored in our body. You go to an acupuncturist and they're going to say there's something wrong with your kidney. There's a block. What was that block? It was a part of our energy channels. If you also think of your energy channels in terms of like how you can what you can perceive consciously. Like when you can consciously feel all the way through your energy channels, you're much more present than when you can't feel something. And with emotions, what you find is when there's an emotional block, you don't want to go there. There's some painful thing that happened as a kid. You might not even remember it. But if you remember it, you don't want to go there. So there's actually literally something in your consciousness which manifests in your energy field as a block. You don't want to go there. And in the 5-day retreat that we do, we have these amazing healers that practice like journal speak, where you're journaling, you're this 5-year-old. Every day you get into being a 5-year-old and you go, I hate this, I hate that. You know, you just let it, then you delete it. The simplest thing in the world, like the lady who teaches it, Nicole Sachs. She said she had to come to this place, she goes, I hate my kids. She doesn't hate her kids. But there's this 5-year-old inside us that you know, has to have a voice. And if it doesn't, you're blocked. And so doing emotional trauma work, to me, is a prerequisite, in a broad sense, of really being able to channel higher energies into your body. And doing daily emotional work is also a requisite. So whereas I used to work with people and say, you know, do this visualization anymore, the first thing I say now is like, do 5 minutes of that journaling where you become a 5-year-old and let him have his say. I hate my mom, I hate this, let it out. Let him have his say, he's got to get out. Or to do the meridians tapping, to do whatever you have to do, get it out, and it's cleared the way, and then your channels can go. And to speak to your question, Joe, once that trauma is out of your energy system, to be consciously, you can imagine every cell of your body consciously saying higher vibrational things. I love, I forgive, I accept, I appreciate, I surrender. These are higher vibrational emotions. You can imagine every cell of your body vibrating with these higher vibrational emotions. I think the components of, if I were for me personally to really make a study of how do I get to the best, highest, most beautiful universe that I can exist in, working through the trauma, doing higher emotional work like that, like affirmations where I'm saying the higher emotions, but then also working through beliefs, limited beliefs. Because the limited beliefs are going to stop you. No, you know, you can't do that, or no, you know, you're not, money doesn't grow on trees, or, you know, whatever the thing is. We live in an infinite world. This 2-year-old kid, whatever, this infant, stopped breathing for an hour and a half. It didn't know. And then it came back. You know, so the limiting beliefs, they stop us from the unlimited. So doing work, you know, to work through the limiting beliefs, and then, so doing that, so doing the emotional trauma work, clearing out the trauma. If you just spent 5 minutes, had a morning ritual where you spent 5 minutes journaling as a 5-year-old, just let him have his say. He's 5 years old, I hate everyone, fuck you, I don't want to talk to you. Let it out, delete it, you know. Practice higher vibrational feelings. Practice creating affirmations of unlimited thinking that won't stop you from creating a higher existence, and then channeling the energy and consciously going into that higher place, and then surrendering. You know, once the energy channels are open, you're asking that higher self to work through you, and then say, that's my job. That's what I do for a living. What do I do for a living? This is my job. My job is to take care of this energy. That's to make it as open as possible, to clear the way for something greater. I want to participate with the greatness. So my job is to clear the energy, to connect with the energy, and to ask it, and to surrender to it. And that's my job. And then the rest of the day is going to go however it's going to go. That to me is the most perfect way to start your day. I would not, like personally, some version of that is what I've been doing for many, many years. I wouldn't start my day. If I ever start my day, for whatever reason, without that, I would have wished at the end of the day that I had stayed in bed. Yeah. I think it's time for lunch. We're going to break till what time? 2:30, is it?
Yep.
2:30 we're coming back with Steve and Robert, and we'll see you then. Have a great lunch. Thank you.